What would you do if your son told you he wanted to be a dancer? Today we speak with Ben Belhumeur, Pittsburgh area dancer, choreographer, and business owner, as we tackle the stigma of men in dance.
William says George absolutely loves ballet. I have news for you, Prince William. We'll see how long that lasts. I mean, he might end up, but between the religious studies and the computer programming, I just want to go back to the Play-Doh.
Hey everyone, welcome to House Call. I'm Dr. Rueben Brock. I am here with dancer, choreographer, and owner of Release the Fire Dance Convention, Ben Belhumeur.
Nice to be here.
We want to have a conversation about men in dance. A few months ago at this point, there was an incident where Lara Spencer from Good Morning America was doing a piece on Prince George, I think it was, right? And essentially, when she heard that he had been studying dance, she laughed, she mocked him, the whole crowd mocked him. And it set the dance world on fire. People were responding on social media. And then she went on to have a conversation with some pretty notable male dancers where she apologized and had a conversation with some prominent dancers.
Yeah.
Right? But it occurred to me after watching that whole thing unfold that people don't actually understand what the world of dance looks like and what it's like for a male dancer. And so I wanted to sit down with you, talk about it, and see if maybe we can shed some light on what it might be like to be a male dancer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So first of all, tell me about what you're doing. Tell me about your story.
Well, I grew up here in Pittsburgh,
Okay.
And I actually started dancing because I didn't want to take a nap in kindergarten.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dead serious. It was either take a nap or go to dance class, and I chose dance.
Okay.
You know, and then after that, I dabbled in a little bit of sports. Soccer was my main thing.
Okay.
And then by the age of 7, I was back in dance, and I knew that's what I wanted at 11. You know.
Okay.
Pretty
early.
Yeah, it was pretty early for me. I loved every minute of it. I remember I used to stand in the room, and my mom would look in and watch me, and I was like, go away, I need to focus. You know? So I was always into it whenever I was younger. And then I grew up and went to college for dance as well.
Okay.
And then after college, I started working professionally, gigs, different things, different companies. And then after that, I started to focus on owning and choreographing and kind of putting my own little taste on what I wanted to do. So that's why I created Release the Fire, which is my own convention that I host here out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And then I also own a competition team, Elite by Ben.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
that's kind of a side project, but growing into something very big.
Yeah. So what is your goal? What is your hope for this, for Release the Fire? Like I've been to a number of dance conventions at this point. Everybody's got their special thing. What is your thing?
Yeah, so Release the Fire, we have been working very hard on changing the rules of regular competition. We are doing something called a blackout, where we are taking away all the costumes and working with dancers on just their technique and their performance, you know.
So essentially giving them solid feedback, strip away all the frills, give them real feedback as dancers. What do you need to do to move forward?
Exactly.
So for those of you who are not in the dance world, competition is a big piece of it, convention's a big piece of it. And so, you know, I'm a dance dad, and so I spend a lot of weekends at these conventions where my son gets feedback from professional dancers. I have been surprised at how much I actually enjoy the dance world. My confession will be that when my son was young, I loved baseball, and so I hoped that he would go into baseball. And he played baseball and t-ball, and then like after that, so he did 3 years of t-ball, and he's getting real good, and people are like, oh, I can't wait to see him play next year when he moves up. And I go to my son in the last game of t-ball, like, okay, son, it's gonna be great next year, and he's like, I'm not playing next year. and he found his thing. His thing was dance. And oftentimes men come up to me and it's like they're giving condolences. And I've found that there's two major fears, and I wonder if you could speak to them. People feel like if you're a dancer and you're a male, you must be gay, and if you're going to do the dance world, you're not going to make money.
Yeah.
You're a male dancer whose profession is dance.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
I'll touch upon your first point, which is male dancers have to be gay,
Right.
which is actually something that came up probably about a week ago for me.
Okay.
I was, just talking to different people and starting to date again.
Okay.
And this woman said that, oh, well, why would I date a guy that dances? And I said, then, okay, why are we even having this conversation?
Right,
you know?
right.
And so it just kind of took me back for a second. I was like, wait, people still think that is the normal.
Yeah.
And plenty of my friends are gay, plenty of them are straight, and it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But I remember in middle school, there was this one guy who used to punch me in the mouth about once a week and shove me up against my locker and call me different names. Wow. And I just said, okay, thank you very much. From that moment on, I said, I'm not going to apologize for what I do, you know? And so after a couple of years of that, I started to joke around and say, well, okay, I'm doing what I love, and I know exactly where my path is going.
Okay. So there's that piece of it, but then also you don't make any money. You can't make any money as a dancer.
I'm doing really well for myself, I'm just going to say.
All right, okay. There you have it.
My mom jokes with me all the time. I mean, on cruise ships, we save money, because
you don't have to pay for living expenses.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
But I paid to have fun, and I traveled the world, and
Yeah.
I tell the story all the time. In Bora Bora, I rented a private island, and our whole cast went and just enjoyed this.
That's
whole
a real
island.
thing? You rented an island?
a private island. I'll show you pictures later. It's awesome.
I need to get my life right. I've never rented an island.
I'll teach you.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the idea that you won't make money. It's tough.
Yeah.
It is tough, and you got to run the game. You got to run the circuit. But
Okay.
if you're committed to it and you know how to ask for help, like I just asked somebody the other day, hey, can I come watch what you're doing so I can learn from you and be better at what I'm doing? But you can make money. It's just you're not going to become a millionaire. But that's not the point.
Yeah.
That's not the reason why we do what we do.
Right.
We do what we do because we love it. And then everything that comes with it, a house, a car, I mean, everybody works for those things.
When I think about the male dancers that I can think of, Baryshnikov, Gene Kelly, Gregory Hines, I don't see that list of names and go, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where does this image of the male dancer that people don't like, where does that come from, do you think?
As dancers, we are so open to meeting new people, and we're not afraid to go talk to new people and be out there and be who we are, that we're overly friendly half the time.
Yeah.
And I think people take that the wrong way.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, I was at a concert in Cleveland, actually. Made a bunch of whole new friends, and then at the end of the night, they were like, so my best friend, and I was like, no.
They made the assumption.
They made the assumption.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it just comes from our generosity of kindness.
Yeah.
And that's who we are.
Okay. The best part and the worst part about your job?
Best part? First, it would be traveling. I mean, because as I said, you don't get to go to Bora Bora, you don't get to go to, Alaska and Hawaii, and it was such a great opportunity for me.
Yeah.
But then as I transitioned from being a dancer into a choreographer and a teacher, I love being in a studio and molding a young mind to think differently. I really enjoy that part of the job.
And the worst part?
The worst part? The money. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sitting here ready to rent an island.
No, I think the worst part is it does pull you away from your family and friends and loved ones. I mean, there's been years where I was away from family for, 2 months at a time, just traveling, and I don't have time to run over and all this kind of stuff. But as I grew up, I learned to make time for them.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's actually more of a regret than anything is that I didn't spend the time I always wanted with my family because I was so focused on what I wanted to do. Okay. That's probably the worst thing about it.
Okay. What would you want a young male dancer watching this to know? What do you wish somebody had told you?
I wish somebody would have said, be yourself and go after what you want. And if you need somebody there for you that understands what you're doing, we're here for you.
Okay.
And people say that, but to genuinely mean it is something different.
And really be there.
Exactly.
Okay.
And as my parents were there for me, it's not the same thing.
Okay.
It's not the same thing to go to your parents, because we don't tell our parents everything. You know that.
Yeah.
But to be able to talk to somebody that you trust that isn't going to do anything other than support you and
Right.
and love you.
Right.
That isn't family.
Okay.
That's what I wish I had. I
Okay.
didn't always have that. Not right away, at least.
Yeah. And it seems like now you are attempting to be that
Absolutely.
for people.
Yes.
Which is really cool. Aside from talent, which is kind of obvious, what does someone need in order to be successful in the dance world?
Drive.
Okay.
You've got to have drive. I've seen so many dancers just take, for example, dancers move to LA, and it's a different type of circuit than your New York run. And one side is contemporary and concert style work, and one is commercial, one is Broadway. There's different little places that you need to be in. But you've got to be willing to go out and go for the job and do the work that it takes to get there. And that means getting your butt to class and not just saying, okay, well, I'm going to go to the audition and that'll be fine. You've got to train every part of your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, your muscles. You have to train every piece of you. So being able to work for what you want and determine for what you want is a huge thing.
And last question, I think about this a lot because I'm a college professor. You're a young dancer. You want to go into the dance world. You're thinking about, do I go to college? Do I just go move to New York or LA and go for it?
I have had many students ask that question to me,
Okay.
actually. And the answer is different every time. And the reason why is because it depends on the student.
Okay.
I tell them they have to know where and what they want to do. And if they tell me, okay, well, I want to go to Broadway. Okay, well, can you sing?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So there's a lot of things that they don't think about. Dancers are like, well, I want to go dance on Broadway. And I was like, okay, when was your last voice lesson? They're like, I haven't had one. You got to rethink a little bit. And it's not to say that it's not possible. It's just you've got to prepare them for that.
Okay.
But college for me was, I always lean that way with students, only because college for me was a different maturity level of growing. I mean, I thought
because there's more to college than whatever you're training for. You learn about life.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and the instruction is different because your body has matured and your mind has matured. So you're looking at different concepts.
Okay.
But so I do kind of push students to go to college, and I say even if it's just a 2-year degree, because when you come out, you can't. It's not that you can't work with or without a degree, but it helps.
It does. You believe it does.
Help.
Okay.
I mean, I've sat on the casting side of the table and I've looked through resumes after resumes after resumes. I'm like, okay, well, where'd you go to college? And it's like, okay, here's Slippery Rock, or here's University of the Arts in Philadelphia, or Juilliard, or wherever you're at. That rings as a casting person.
That does carry weight.
It does
in this
carry
world.
weight because we all know somebody in each place.
Right.
I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many connections that people forget about, and they're all like, okay, well, I want to go for this, and I want to go for this. Well, it's a very complicated run of the game that you got to be willing to go after. But, I mean, as far as college, I highly suggest it.
You like the idea of college?
I do.
Okay. Because I always think about, I went to music school. I went to UArts, actually.
Oh, did you?
I did. Studied music. And then after the fact, one of the things that I thought about was, technically speaking, that degree, you're not required to have that degree in order to get up on a bandstand, right?
Yeah.
But you're saying it's more than that. It's not about necessarily the degree, but the connections. And
More about the connections.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. But you've heard it here, folks, on House Call. You can make money as a dancer, enough money to rent out an island, apparently. I need to know where this island is. We got to talk about that.
I'll send it to you.
But I'm glad we were able to have this conversation. I do believe that the stigma associated with males dancing is misplaced, misguided.
Yes.
And it's refreshing to talk to someone who can speak openly about that. And so if you're out there, young people, and you think to yourself, I would really like to do this, but I believe that the world is telling me it's not a good idea. Here's an example of someone who has done it, is finding success, appears to be happy.
Yeah, very happy.
Okay.
Very happy.
It can be done. So follow your dreams. Don't worry about what the world tells you. I mean, if I was listening to the world, I wouldn't be sitting here doing what I do.
Exactly.
And so if you enjoy this conversation, you have something to say about it, do me a favor, send us a message, leave it in the comments on YouTube, send us a message on Facebook to Dr. Rueben Brock. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. We want to talk about things that are helpful to you. But for today, that's all I've got. I'm Dr. Rueben Brock, and this is House Call.